My name is Grace, and on that night, I really thought I was going to die. Blue and red lights flashed all around the taxi. Sirens screamed in my ears. The car shook as police cars stopped in front of us, behind us, and on both sides. We were trapped in the middle of the road like a small animal in a cage. The taxi driver's hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Then he turned to me, his eyes wide with fear, and said in a loud, broken voice, "Don't get out here, trust me." Before I could answer, I heard it. Police. Nobody move. Hands where we can see them. Bright lights hit my face through the window. I could see police officers running toward us, their boots hitting the ground fast. Their flashlights shone directly into my eyes. I raised my hands slowly, my heart beating so hard I could hear it. The driver leaned closer and whispered, "Please, madam, just trust me. Stay in the car. No matter what they say." My mouth went dry. Why was he so scared? Why were the police surrounding us? And what did he mean, "Don't get out"? Before I tell you what happened next, let me talk to you, the one watching this. If you want to hear more stories like this, real emotional and powerful stories that will keep you thinking even after the video ends, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any new story. Also, go to the comments and tell me where you're watching from, your country or your city. I really want to know who is sitting with me tonight and listening to my story. Alright, now let me take you back to where it all started. That day started like a normal day. The sun was hot. The streets were noisy. People were moving everywhere. I had just closed from work, tired and hungry. I work at a small office in town, not anything big, but enough to pay my bills and take care of myself. I checked my phone. There was a message from my little cousin, Joy. "Auntie Grace, can you please come today? I really need to talk to you. It's important." She lived on the other side of the city, in a place I didn't like going to at night. The area was rough. Too many stories of stealing and trouble. But Joy sounded scared in her message. I couldn't just ignore her. So I replied, "Okay, I'm coming after work." By the time I closed from the office, the sky was already turning orange. I walked to the bus stop, but when I got there, people were standing and shouting. There was no bus. "Driver no day come again. Fuel don finish," someone complained. I sighed. No bus. No easy way home. And Joy was waiting. I looked at my phone again and opened a taxi app. I don't really like taking taxis at night, but that day I felt like I had no choice. I ordered a ride. In less than 5 minutes, a small white taxi stopped in front of me. The car was a bit old, but clean. The driver was a slim man in his late 30s, wearing a simple shirt. He had tired but kind eyes. He rolled down the window. "Good evening, madam. Are you Grace?" "Yes," I said and got into the back seat. As the car moved, I noticed the driver kept checking his mirror again and again. His eyes were not just on the road. It was like he was watching something behind us. At first, I ignored it. City roads can be crazy. Maybe he was just being careful. But then his phone rang. He answered on speaker, maybe by mistake. A rough male voice came from the phone. "Where you day now?" The driver frowned and turned the phone face down, but not before I heard him answer, in a low voice. "I don carry am. We day come." My heart skipped. We day come? We are coming. Who was he talking to? And, I don carry am? Was he talking about me? I tried to stay calm. "Is everything all right?" I asked. "Yes, madam, everything fine," he replied quickly. "Don't worry." But his hands were tight on the steering wheel. The car turned off the main road. I looked outside. The bright shops and busy people were gone. Now, we were entering a quieter street with fewer lights and fewer people walking around. "Excuse me," I said. "This doesn't look like the normal road. Is this a shortcut?" "Yes, madam, shortcut," he said. There is too much traffic on the main road. This one is faster. I checked the map on my phone. The blue line showed another way, but it did pass through a rough area. My stomach felt strange. Maybe it was just traffic. Maybe I was overthinking. But that small voice in my mind whispered, "Something is wrong." We drove deeper into the street. Some houses looked old. Some shops were closed already. One or two groups of young men were standing by the roadside, just watching cars go by. I locked my door quietly. The driver saw me in the mirror. "Don't worry, madam," he said. "You will reach safely." Then his phone rang again. This time, he didn't pick it up. The same number. He pressed decline. The call came again. He declined it again. Now he was breathing fast. "Is someone looking for you?" I asked slowly. No problem," he said, but his voice shook. A few minutes later, we reached a T-junction. Instead of turning left like the app map showed, he turned right. My chest tightened. "Why did you turn right?" I asked, louder now. "Roadblock on the other side," he replied. "This way is better." I checked the map again. The blue line turned red, then gray. The app lost the route for a moment. Now I was really scared. "Please stop the car," I said. He didn't stop. "Driver," I said, "stop the car." Instead of stopping, he slowed down and looked at me through the mirror. His eyes were full of something I could not understand. Fear, worry, and something else. "Madam, please," he said quietly. "Just give me 5 more minutes. I will explain." I felt tears in my eyes. "No," I said. "If you don't stop now, I will jump out." The car was moving slowly enough that I thought maybe I could open the door and run. My hand went to the handle. Just then, we heard it. Sirens. Loud. Close. The whole street lit up with blue and red lights. 2 police trucks came from the front. Another one from behind us. The driver cursed under his breath. "Ah. They have reached here already." Already? My heart dropped. In seconds, we were surrounded. The car in front blocked our way. The one behind stopped so close we couldn't reverse. Police quickly came down with flashlights in their hands. "Police!" one shouted. "Nobody move. Hands up." The driver raised his hands slowly. I froze. One of the officers pointed at our car. "That's the taxi. Don't let them get out." Another one shouted. "Driver. Passenger. Come out with your hands up." I looked at the driver, shaking from head to toe. Sweat rolled down his face. Then he turned to me, his voice breaking. "Madam, please. Don't get out here, trust me." My hand was already on the door handle. The nearest police officer lifted his hand and began to reach for the door from outside. I was trapped between the driver's warning and the officer's command. If I stayed, I might be in danger. If I stepped out, I might be in even bigger trouble. And as the officer's fingers closed around the door handle, ready to pull it open. "Please," the driver shouted suddenly. "This woman doesn't know anything." The words hit the air like thunder. The police froze for a second. I slowly turned to look at the driver. My heart was beating so hard it felt painful. What are you talking about?" I whispered. One of the officers pulled the door open before the driver could say anything more. "Madam, step out of the vehicle. Slowly. Hands up." My legs were weak, but I obeyed. I stepped out of the taxi, my hands raised high. Cold night air touched my skin. The road was quiet, but the sirens were still wailing, loud enough to hurt my ears. The police moved fast. 2 officers pulled the driver out from his side. They pushed him against the car and handcuffed him. "Down!" one officer shouted. "I didn't do it. Please!" the driver cried. "Please, listen to me." Another officer walked toward me. His voice was calmer. "Madam, what is your relationship with the driver?" I don't know him, I said quickly. I just ordered a taxi. I was going home. He looked at me closely. Have you spoken to him before today? No. Do you know why we stopped this car? I shook my head. No, sir. I don't know anything. Behind us, the driver kept talking, his voice loud and shaky. I beg you. She is just a passenger. She is not part of this. Part of what? An officer walked to the back of the taxi and opened the trunk. When he did, everyone suddenly became quiet. Even the sirens seemed softer in that moment. The officer stared into the trunk. His face changed. His eyes widened a little. Then he called out. Control, this is Unit 4. We found it. Found what? My stomach tightened. Another officer came closer, pulled on gloves, and looked into the trunk too. He nodded slowly. That's the one. One of the officers turned back to me. Madam, he said, you said you don't know anything. Is that correct? Yes. I said quickly. Please, I swear. He sighed and waved another officer over. Separate them, he ordered. We need to hear each story clearly. They led me a few steps away from the taxi. I could still see the driver in handcuffs. His head was down now. He looked broken. The officer speaking to me crouched a little so we were face to face. Tell me exactly what happened from the moment you entered this taxi, he said. So I did. I told him about calling the taxi after work. I told him about the driver answering his phone and saying, I don't carry am. I told him about the strange road, the wrong turn, and how I asked him to stop. The officer listened quietly. He didn't interrupt me. When I finished, he stood up and walked away. I felt like my heart was hanging in the air. Another officer came to me. Madam Grace, he said, reading my name from my ID, we need you to come with us to the station for a short statement. Fear rushed through my body. But I didn't do anything. I cried. We know, he said. But you were in the vehicle. We just need to be careful. I looked back at the taxi. 2 officers were now pulling something out of the trunk. Carefully. They covered it with a black cloth. Whatever it wasn't small. People from nearby houses had started coming out to watch. Some were whispering. Some were pointing. I heard someone say, "No kidnapping matter." My knees almost gave way. Kidnapping? Was that what this was? I was led to a police van and told to sit inside. The door closed with a loud bang. Through the small window, I could see the driver being pushed into another van. Before the doors closed, he suddenly looked at me. Our eyes met. And in that short second, I saw something in his face that shocked me. Regret. Deep regret. At the station, I was taken to a small room. A table. 2 chairs. A bright light hanging from the ceiling. An officer sat across from me with a notebook. Relax, he said. Just answer the questions. But how could I relax? He asked me where I worked. Where I lived. Who I was visiting. If I had any problems with anyone. Then he asked, Madam Grace, were you expecting to meet anyone tonight apart from your cousin? No. Do you know anyone involved in missing persons cases? No. Have you ever seen what was inside the trunk before tonight? I shook my head fast. Never. He wrote quietly. After a while, another officer came in and whispered something in his ear. The officer looked at me again, this time with a strange expression. Your driver, he said slowly, has made a statement. I held my breath. What did he say? He says he was paid to pick someone up, the officer continued. He says he thought he was carrying goods. Goods. Then the officer leaned forward. But, he said, he also says, he was warned that the passenger might panic if she found out. My heart stopped. Passenger. Me. What does that mean? I asked in a small voice. The officer didn't answer immediately. He stood up and opened a file. Madam Grace, he said, there has been a missing child report for the last 48 hours. A picture slid across the table. I looked down. And then I screamed. It was Joy. My cousin. The room spun. No, 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 I whispered. That's not possible. I was going to see her. She texted me. She asked me to come. The officers exchanged looks. That message, one of them said quietly, was sent from her phone. 2 hours after she was reported missing. I felt sick. I remembered the driver's phone call. I don't carry am. We day come. Then I remembered the driver's last words to me in the car. Don't get out here. Trust me. My whole body started shaking. Officer, I said, my voice barely there, what exactly did you find in the taxi trunk? The officer looked at me long and hard. Then he said, we believe it belongs to the missing child. The lights above me seemed too bright. My ears rang. And just as I tried to speak, the door opened suddenly. A senior officer walked in fast. We have a problem, he said. The driver wants to see her. He pointed at me. Says if she doesn't come now, someone else will disappear. The room went silent. My heart skipped when the senior officer pointed at me. He wants to see her, the officer repeated. He said he will only talk if she is present. My hands started shaking. No, please, I whispered. I don't know anything. Why does he want to see me? The officer studying me sighed. Madam Grace, he said gently, we believe the driver knows more than he is saying. And right now, the child's life may still be in danger. That sentence hit me harder than anything else. The child's life may still be in danger. I stood up slowly, my legs weak. Will you be there? I asked. I don't want to be alone with him. You won't be alone, the officer assured me. 2 officers will be inside. Another 2 outside. They led me down a long hallway. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. Every step I took felt heavy, like I was walking into something dark. We stopped in front of a metal door. The officer opened it. The driver was sitting inside. His hands were still cuffed. His head was down. When he heard footsteps, he slowly raised his face. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears immediately. Madam, he whispered. Thank you for coming. I didn't sit down. Why did you call me here? I asked. My voice was shaking, but I tried to stay strong. What do you want from me? He swallowed hard. I swear to God, he said, I didn't know it was a child when they hired me. They? An officer asked sharply. The driver nodded. Yes. 2 men. They called me this morning. He took a deep breath. They told me to wait near the bus park. They said someone would send a location, and a woman would enter my taxi later. They said once the woman enters, I should follow the route they sent. My chest tightened. That woman, I said slowly, was me. Yes, he said quietly. They warned me you might ask questions. They said if you tried to leave, I should calm you down. They told me you were family, that you would meet them later. One officer leaned forward. Why didn't you call the police when you realized something was wrong? The driver laughed bitterly. Because when I tried, he said, lowering his voice, they sent me a picture. He looked up at me. A picture of your cousin. I felt dizzy. They said if I talked, he continued, the child would die. Tears rolled down his face. I have children of my own, he said. I was afraid. And the trunk? An officer asked. They told me not to open it, the driver said quickly. They said it was sealed goods. They also said if I opened it, I would never see my children again. The room was quiet. Then the driver turned back to me. Madam Grace, he said softly, I begged you not to get out because everything changed when the police stopped us. My heart began to race. What do you mean, everything changed? He leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. They were watching us. Not the police, them. My skin crawled. Watching from where? I asked. From across the road, he said. In a black SUV. When the police lights came on, their car disappeared. The officers exchanged worried looks. One of them asked, "Did you get a good look at them?" "No," the driver replied. "But I know one thing." "What?" "They said if I failed," he glanced at me again, "they would come for the next person closest to you." I froze. "Who is that?" I whispered. He didn't answer right away. Then he said it. "Your younger brother." My whole body went cold. "That's a lie," I said, shaking my head. "He lives far away." "They know," the driver said. "They know where everyone lives. They know your routine. They showed me your picture, your workplace, even the clothes you wore yesterday." I felt sick. One of the officers stood up suddenly. "We need to increase protection," he said. "Now." The senior officer turned to the driver. "Where were you supposed to deliver the child?" The driver hesitated. "If you don't tell us," the officer warned, "this conversation ends now." The driver closed his eyes. "An old warehouse near the river," he said. "They were going to move the child again tonight." "Why tonight?" I asked. "Because," he said slowly, "they think the police are busy with me." Silence filled the room again. The senior officer turned to me. "Madam Grace," he said seriously, "we may need your help." My heart pounded. My help? How? "They have been contacting the driver through texts," he explained. "They may believe he can still finish the job." "No," I whispered. "You don't mean?" "Yes," he said. "We believe they might call again." The driver suddenly lifted his head. "They will call again," he said firmly. "They never stop halfway." As if on command. His phone, lying on the table, suddenly lit up. Everyone froze. The screen showed one word. "Unknown caller." The phone began to vibrate. The room felt like it stopped breathing. The senior officer whispered, "Everyone stay calm." The driver looked at me with terrified eyes. "They are calling," he said. The phone kept vibrating. And then, a message popped up on the screen. "We know you are with the police. You have 10 minutes. Or the girl dies." Before anyone could react, another message followed. "The woman chooses." The words on the phone burned into my eyes. "The woman chooses." I couldn't breathe. "What do they mean?" I whispered. "Chooses what?" The room felt too small. Too quiet. Everyone was looking at me like I was already standing on the edge of something terrible. The senior officer took the phone and read the message again. "They are forcing a decision," he said. "They want control." "Control of what?" I asked, my voice shaking. He didn't answer me immediately. Instead, he turned to another officer. "Get cybercrime on the line. Now," he ordered. "See if we can trace this number." The officer ran out of the room. I looked at the driver. He was sweating badly now. "They like games," he said softly. "They like to make people suffer." My knees felt weak, and I sat down. "Talk," I said to him. "Please. Say everything. Don't hide anything now." He swallowed. "They told me," he said, "that if anything went wrong, the woman would be asked to choose." "Choose between what?" an officer asked. The driver's lips trembled. "Between silence and sacrifice." My heart almost stopped. "Sacrifice," I repeated. "What does that even mean?" "They said," he continued, "if you cooperate and follow instructions, the child might live." "Might. And if I don't?" I asked. He looked away. "They kill one to teach the rest." Tears filled my eyes. "This is madness," I cried. "Why me? I didn't do anything." The senior officer's voice softened. Because they believe you care, he said. And criminals use love as a weapon. Just then, the phone buzzed again. Everyone jumped. Another message. Tick-tock. My heart pounded so loudly I thought everyone could hear it. How much time do we have? I asked. The senior officer checked the time. 7 minutes. 7 minutes to decide something I didn't even understand. The cybercrime officer rushed back in. Sir, he said, breathless. We are tracing the number, but they are bouncing signals. They know what they're doing. The senior officer nodded. Can we reply? He asked. Yes, the officer said. But carefully. The senior officer turned to me. Grace, he said, we need you to help us keep them talking. My mouth went dry. How? We respond as the driver, he said. They trust the connection. But at some point, they may demand proof. Proof of what? I asked. That you are willing to choose. I stood up suddenly. No. No way, I said. I am not part of their game. I know, the officer said. But we are trying to save the child. That child is my cousin. I shouted. You think this is easy for me? Silence fell again. The phone buzzed. Another message. Send her voice note. I froze. They want to hear you, the senior officer said quietly. My heart slammed against my chest. No, I whispered. They'll know it's me. They already know everything. Exactly, the officer said. That's why hearing you might buy us time. Time. Time was the only thing standing between life and death right now. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. What do I say? I asked. The officer thought for a moment. Sound confused. Afraid. Like you don't understand what's happening. That part wasn't hard. The phone was placed in front of me. The red recording light blinked. I closed my eyes. And spoke. Please, I said softly, my voice breaking. I don't know what you want. I was just taking a taxi. If you've taken my cousin, please don't hurt her. I beg you. My tears fell freely. I'll do whatever you want. Just please, don't hurt her. The officer stopped the recording and sent it. We waited. 5 seconds. 10. The longest seconds of my life. Then the reply came. Good. You understand now. Another message followed quickly. Here is your choice. My heart felt like it dropped into my stomach. The officer opened the next message. It was a photo. I screamed. It was Joy. She was sitting on the floor of a dark room. Her hands were tied. Her mouth was covered. Her eyes were wide with fear. I collapsed onto the chair. Joy! I cried. Oh God! Oh God! Another message popped up. Option 1. You come alone. My breath caught. Option 2. You call the police, move on the warehouse. I looked up wildly. They know about the warehouse, I said. They know everything. The officer clenched his jaw. They are forcing a trap, he said. If we move, they may kill her. Another message appeared. Choose wrong. She dies. The room was spinning. Option 1, I whispered. What does it mean? Where do they want me to go? The driver answered softly. They will send a location, he said. They want you as insurance. As hostage? I asked. He nodded. No, I said quickly, shaking my head. No, I can't do that. But if you don't, the officer said carefully, and we storm the place, they might harm her before we get there. Tears streamed down my face. I can't do this, I cried. I'm not brave. I'm just normal. The phone buzzed again. 1 minute. 1 minute. The senior officer took my hand. Grace, he said, whatever you choose, we will move fast. I looked at Joy's picture again. Then I thought of my brother, my family, my life. My hands. My fear. The clock ticked loudly on the wall. 30 seconds left. The phone vibrated one last time. Time. My mouth opened. And before I could stop myself, I said the words. I'll go. The room erupted with voices. No. That's too dangerous. We can't allow that. But the phone buzzed instantly. Smart woman. Another message followed. Location sending now. The map loaded. And as the officers leaned in to look, the lights in the station suddenly went out. Complete darkness. And from somewhere behind me, I heard a calm voice whisper, "You chose." The lights came back on. But everything felt different. Officers shouted. Chairs scraped. Someone yelled for backup. My heart was beating so hard I felt dizzy. I turned slowly. No one was standing behind me. No man. No shadow. Nothing. Did anyone else hear that? I asked, my voice shaking. The senior officer's face was pale. Yes, he said. We all did. The room went silent. That was when everyone understood. These people were closer than we thought. Too close. 30 minutes later, I was sitting in the back of an unmarked police car. The warehouse location was on the screen of a tablet. Dark. Quiet. Near the river, just as the driver had said. We are not letting you go alone, the senior officer said firmly. No matter what they think. Firearms. Bulletproof vests. Headsets. I had never seen so many serious faces around me. My hands were cold. What if they find out? I asked quietly. They expect fear, the officer replied. We'll give them control, but on our terms. The plan was simple and terrifying. I would be driven close to the warehouse. I would walk the last short distance alone, like they demanded. Hidden police units would surround the area silently. If anything feels wrong, the officer said, looking straight into my eyes, you turn back immediately. I nodded, but deep inside, I knew. Once I stepped out of that car, there might be no turning back. The car stopped 2 streets away from the warehouse. It was lonely. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl. I stepped out. My phone vibrated immediately. Good girl. Walk. My legs felt heavy as I started moving. Every step echoed in my ears. Old buildings stood empty. Broken windows. Rusted doors. The river nearby made a slow, dark sound. I could see the warehouse now. Big. Metal. Dark. Another message came. Drop your phone. My heart jumped. If I drop the phone, how will you talk to me? I whispered. The reply came fast. Cameras are enough. My blood ran cold. Cameras. I bent down and placed my phone on the ground, just like they said. Then I straightened up. The warehouse door slowly opened with a loud creak. A man's voice came from inside. Come in. I froze. The voice didn't sound angry. It sounded calm. Almost kind. I stepped inside. The door shut behind me. The smell of damp metal and old oil filled my nose. The lights inside flickered on. There were 3 men. All wearing dark clothes. One of them smiled at me. You shouldn't have come alone, he said softly. My knees trembled. You said I should, I replied. I came for the girl. He laughed. Yes, he said. That's why you came. I looked around desperately. Where is she? I cried. Where is Joy? He tilted his head. First, he said, we need to make sure you are worthy. Worthy. I repeated. The second man stepped forward, holding something shiny. A knife. My breath caught in my throat. What is this? I whispered. A test, the first man said calmly. A simple one. He pointed to a chair in the middle of the room. Sit. I shook my head. No. You promised. He raised his hand. You choose again, he said. Like before. My heart pounded. The third man closed in behind me. You see, the first man continued, we don't just take people. We study them. He leaned closer. You would do anything for family. The knife caught the light. Sit. My body moved before my mind could stop it. I sat. The chair was cold. The man with the knife circled me slowly. Don't worry, he said. If you pass, the girl lives. I cried openly now. What do I have to do? I asked. The first man smiled again. Simple, he said. You must make a call. My heart leaped. A call. Yes, he said. To the police. My stomach dropped. And you will tell them, he continued, to come now. All of them. Silence filled the warehouse. That's impossible, I said in a shaking voice. They'll kill her if I do. He leaned in close, his eyes dark. No, he said softly. We will kill you if you don't. The knife pressed gently against my arm. Barely a touch. But enough to make my skin burn. Call, he whispered. Tears blurred my vision. Outside, hidden officers were waiting. Inside, death was breathing on my neck. My hands trembled as they placed the phone back into my shaking hands. The screen lit up. One call. One choice. As my finger hovered over the call button, the warehouse door suddenly exploded inward with a deafening bang. The explosion was so loud it felt like the walls jumped. Police. Everybody on the ground. Shouting. Running. Guns raised. Bright flashlights cutting through the dark warehouse like lightning. The men around me reacted fast. Too fast. One of them grabbed me from behind and pulled me up from the chair, wrapping his arm tight around my neck. I screamed as my feet left the ground. Stop moving or she dies, he shouted. Everything froze. Police officers filled the doorway, weapons raised. Red dots from laser sights danced across the walls, and across my chest. My heart felt like it would burst. Let her go, an officer commanded. Now. The man behind me laughed. You're too late, he said. She already chose. The second man kicked the chair away. The third one ran toward the shadows at the back of the warehouse. Gunshots exploded. Bang. Bang. The sound was deafening. I felt the man holding me jerk backward. His grip loosened for 1 second. I dropped to the floor hard, gasping for air. Someone screamed. Suspect down. Strong arms pulled me across the floor, dragging me away. Grace. Grace, stay with me. A police officer shouted as he shielded me with his body. I was shaking so badly I couldn't answer. More gunshots. Metal clanged. Boots pounded. Then suddenly, silence. The kind of silence that hurts your ears. Clear, someone called out. Suspect 1 down. Suspect 2 escaped. Third is injured but alive. The senior officer rushed to me. Grace, are you hurt? He asked urgently. I shook my head, choking on tears. Joy, I cried. Where is Joy? The officer's face tightened. We haven't found her yet. My heart sank. They searched fast. Behind crates. Inside small rooms. Under broken stairs. Nothing. No child, an officer said quietly. No child. I repeated, my voice cracking. She was here. I saw her picture. The driver, who had been brought along for identification, was led inside. His face was pale when he looked around. This is one of their places, he said softly. But not the main one. I grabbed the officer's arm. They moved her, I said. Didn't they? The officer nodded slowly. Yes, he said. And they did it before we arrived. My legs gave way. I sat on the cold floor and cried. All of this. And we were still too late. Back at the station, it was almost morning. My clothes were dirty. My hair was a mess. My eyes burned from crying, but sleep would not come. They gave me water. I didn't drink it. They asked if I wanted to call someone. I couldn't speak. The officer sat across from me quietly. They left something, he said after a while. What? I whispered. He slid a small object across the table. My heart dropped. It was Joy's bracelet. Pink beads. A small broken heart charm. My hands shook as I picked it up. She never takes this off, I cried. She wanted you to find it, the officer said gently. That means she's still alive. Just then, a loud beep sounded in the room. An officer rushed in holding a phone. Sir, he said urgently. We got a message from an unknown device. The room went quiet. The message was put on the screen. It was a video. My breath caught as the play button was pressed. Joy appeared on the screen. She was alive. But she looked tired, dirty, scared. Her lips were shaking. Then a man's voice spoke from behind the camera. You did well, he said calmly. You came. You chose. You survived. My blood ran cold. But this, he continued, was only the beginning. The camera moved closer to Joy's face. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. Your police are slow, the man said. And you are predictable. I leaned forward, screaming. Let her go. Please. The man laughed softly. She will go, he said. When you finish what you started. The video ended. Another message popped up immediately. Pack a bag. Another followed. You have 24 hours. I stared at the screen. 24 hours for what? I whispered. The senior officer's face was hard. They want you again, he said. And this time, they're not asking. My phone vibrated in my hand. A final message appeared. Next time. No police. And attached beneath it was a photo of my younger brother standing outside his house, smiling, unaware. I screamed as the phone dropped from my hands. They have him too, I cried. They're watching everyone. The senior officer stood up sharply. Lock this down, he ordered. Full protection. Now. But deep inside, I knew the truth. They were already inside our lives. And I was running out of choices. As the officers rushed around me, sirens screaming outside, one final message appeared on the broken screen. Clock is ticking. I couldn't stop shaking. Even after the officers took my phone away. Even after they promised protection. Even after they said my brother was being guarded. My mind was loud with one terrible thought. They were always one step ahead. By morning, the police station felt like a war zone. Officers were everywhere. Phones ringing. Screens flashing. People whispering in corners. My brother had been moved to a safe house. Armed guards stood at every door. But no matter how many officers I saw, I didn't feel safe. They want you, the senior officer said quietly as we sat together. His face looked older now, tired. And they are willing to hurt everyone around you to get you to obey. I already did everything they asked, I said weakly. I went to the warehouse. I almost died. He nodded. That's exactly why they want more, he said. You listened. The words hurt. Being brave didn't save Joy. Being strong didn't stop them. It only made me useful. Later that afternoon, they brought me into a private room. On the table was a small bag. Pack light, the officer said. Just in case. Just in case of what? I asked, though I already knew. In case you have to disappear, he replied. My throat tightened. I won't run, I said. That's what they want. The officer looked at me carefully. No, he said. What they want is control. Running doesn't give them that. Just then, another officer rushed in. They're messaging again, he said. Everyone froze. A secure phone was placed on the table. The screen lit up. Unknown number. A message appeared. You are surrounded by police now. Another message followed. You feel safe. My hands clenched. Don't. The next message came slowly, like it was enjoying the moment. Safety is a lie. The officer typed carefully. What do you want? The reply came almost instantly. Her. My heart sank. Tonight. Another message. Sunset. The room felt tight again. What happens at sunset? I asked, my voice small. The phone buzzed. If you come alone, the girl lives. Tears filled my eyes. And if I don't? I whispered. The message appeared. We return pieces. I screamed and broke down. The officers rushed to me, trying to calm me. This is emotional pressure, the senior officer said firmly. They're trying to break you. It's working, I cried. I can't lose her. I can't lose my brother. I can't. Another message interrupted me. A photo. Joy again. She was crying now. Beside her was a clock. The time was clearly visible. Sunset. They've set terms, the senior officer said grimly. And they've chosen the time. Can we trace them now? I asked desperately. The cyber officer shook his head. They're using short-range devices, he said. Temporary locations. They move every hour. They're doing this on purpose, I whispered. Dragging it out. Yes, the officer said. They want you alone. Afraid. Unprotected. I wiped my tears. What if I pretend to agree? I said slowly. But you follow secretly? The room went silent. The senior officer looked at me. That's what we're considering, he said. But we need to be honest with you. Tell me. If they sense the police, even one signal, they will kill her. My chest burned. Then what am I supposed to do? I cried. The officer leaned closer. You need to act like you're choosing them again, he said. While we prepare for the worst. The worst. Death. Failure. Loss. As the sun began to drop, orange light filled the sky. Sunset was coming. They sent the location. Not a warehouse. Not a dark street. My breath caught when I saw it. The bus park. The same place where I got into the taxi that night. My head started spinning. It's a circle, I whispered. They're bringing it back to the beginning. The last message appeared. Come back to where this started. Come alone. No police. I stood up. I'm going, I said quietly. No, several officers said at once. I have to, I replied. They chose the place for a reason. The senior officer looked at me for a long moment. Then he said slowly, we won't abandon you. I stepped toward the door. The sky outside was burning orange. Time was running out. Just before I left, the secure phone buzzed one last time. One final message. If you warn them. Then another message appeared underneath. The girl screams. Attached was a live audio icon. Still muted. Still silent. My hands shook as I looked at it. Sunset was minutes away. And somewhere, Joy was waiting. Either for freedom. Or for something much worse. The sun was already touching the ground when I reached the bus park. Orange light. Long shadows. People moving without knowing what was about to happen. My heart felt like it would tear open. I walked slowly, just like they told me. No police around me. No phones in my hand. Only fear breathing beside me. Then my phone vibrated in my pocket. One message. Stop. I stopped. Another message came. Turn around. I turned. And there he was. Not one man. 3. Standing where the taxis waited. Calm. Clean. Smiling. One of them stepped forward. You came, he said softly. Good. Where is Joy? I demanded, crying. I did everything. He nodded. Yes, you did. He snapped his fingers. From behind a parked bus, Joy was pushed forward. Alive. Crying. Shaking. My knees failed me. Joy! I screamed. She ran to me, and I wrapped my arms around her as tight as I could. For a moment, everything felt okay. Then the man said quietly, "Now you keep your last promise." My heart sank. "What promise?" I whispered. "Silence," he replied. "You walk away. You forget faces. You forget names." "And if I don't?" I asked. His smile faded. "We already know where your brother sleeps." Anger burned through my fear. "You will never stop," I said. "You'll keep hurting people." He leaned close. "Not today," he said. "Because today, you disappear." Suddenly, police sirens. Loud. Everywhere. Blue and red lights flooded the bus park. Joy screamed. The men cursed. "They followed you," one shouted. I didn't move. "I didn't," I said calmly. That was the truth. Because this time, Joy had pressed the button. Hidden in her bracelet was a tracker. The moment she hugged me, the signal went live. Police rushed in from every direction. People screamed. The men ran. But this time, there was nowhere left to run. They were arrested. All of them. Joy held my hand so tight she wouldn't let go. Later that night, wrapped in a blanket at the station, she whispered, "I knew you would come." I kissed her head and cried. Sometimes love is louder than fear. Sometimes courage looks like shaking legs that still walk forward. And sometimes, the person they thought was weak becomes the reason they lose everything. If this story touched you, if it made your heart beat fast, if it reminded you that courage can come from anyone, white heavy check mark, please like this video. White heavy check mark, subscribe to the channel. White heavy check mark, turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss more powerful, emotional stories like this. And please tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Globe showing Europe, Africa. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying till the end. You are not alone. Broken heart sparkles.